Right now, because there's so much going on with this conflict, I decided that I would like to bring in a guest with me to speak about what's going on here today. So here with me to discuss all of that is a very, very good friend, but I would say even more than a friend. He is a global speaker and activist for Israel. He's the startup guy, and he is the marketing dude. Hillel Fuld, thank you for joining me, holy brother.
You forgot dashingly handsome.
I forgot handsome. I mean, that's already something else. That's for a different magazine.
Let me just start right now. I can't hold it in anymore. I got to tell you something.
To me. Tell me.
All right,
please.
Are you sitting down?
I'm sitting down. Right. Last time I checked.
Hold on to your chair.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I'm gripped.
Okay. So we know in Jewish tradition that there's no open miracles today. We don't have the splitting of the sea and 10 plagues, right? That's what we learn. That's what we know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm gonna push back on that.
Okay.
You tell me what I'm about to tell you is not an open miracle. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. In the last week, Iran launched 400 ballistic missiles at Israel. We saw what a ballistic missile can do when one of them hits a neighborhood in Israel. They launched 400 at us. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How many of them hit Israel?
20 maybe.
Right.
20
out of 420 hit Israel, which is
a
staggering number. But hold on.
Right, absolutely.
That's not the punchline. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
1,000 lethal drones, 1,000, okay? In the last week. Guess how many of them impacted Israel?
I don't know. 20 ago.
Zero. Not one.
Wow.
Not one out of the 1,000 drones that they launched at Israel. Not one hit Israel. Let me tell you the statistic here. This is I just came out. I'm like shaking. I don't even believe this. Okay, listen to this.
Yeah.
So out of the 1,000 drones, less than 200 reached Israel's borders and entered Israeli airspace. However, not one of the drones impacted Israel. All were either intercepted by Israeli Air Force and Navy or fell short before reaching Israel. 1,000 drones, not one hit Israel. Dude,
wow.
Come on.
Wow.
I mean,
there's miracles. I tell people all the time. This is what I tell people. The real truth is that's just the blessing of God covering and protecting his people and making do on his promise. But I tell people all the time, if when you're not looking for God, you won't see him.
That's right.
It's only when you're looking for him, then you'll see him. But if you're not looking for him, you're not seeing him.
100%. I'll tell you even more than that. I'll tell you even more than that. Unfortunately, as we know, we all have friends and colleagues who say, where was God in the Holocaust? Where was God in October 7th? They always ask where God was when the bad things happen.
Right.
But these people are dishonest because if you're going to ask that question when bad things happen, then you got to recognize God when good things happen.
Exactly.
So when you get up in the morning and you breathe and you open your eyes, if you're going to ask where God was on October 7th, which is a legitimate question, then recognize God when you breathe oxygen in the morning. If you're not, and you're only asking where God is when bad things happen, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Wow. That's just dishonest. Right?
That's a powerful point. Very powerful.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm not, God forbid, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. First of all, I'm not, God forbid, belittling or diminishing the devastation of losing 24 Israelis. Okay, that's just 24 worlds, and
one is one too many. So
that's right. And maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't. But for your viewers and listeners, I lost my brother to terror, so nobody has to lecture me on losing someone to radical Islamic terror. I know. Okay, I get it.
Right.
I'm not belittling that. God forbid. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm not belittling or diminishing. Or not being grateful to the IDF and the Israeli Air Force and the Shabak and the Mossad. Listen, again, I served in the military. I have all the respect and admiration in the world. And, that stands alone. That's a statement that stands alone.
Right.
But you can take all of that and there's no military strategist in the world that can explain to you how they fired 1,000 drones and not one. And by the way, forget the ones that were intercepted. You know what? Fine. The Iron Dome, David Sling, the Arrow system, amazing, miraculous systems. I'm going to give them credit. So the ones that they intercepted and detonated, great. What about the other ones? Where'd they fall? They didn't make it into Israeli airspace. These are sophisticated weapons. They didn't, and the ones that came into Israeli airspace, where did they land in empty spaces? And us normal people, we landed in an empty space. All right, what's for lunch? Every single time Iran fires a ballistic missile or a rocket or a drone and it does not kill 50 Israelis, we should stop what we're doing and scream at the top of our lungs, Hashem, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but thank you. Every single time. Literally every time.
Absolutely.
It's happening every minute. And we're just like going on with our day. It kind of reminds me. Reminds me of what is one of my favorite videos on the internet. I'm sure you've seen it, which is Louis C.K. about everything's amazing and nobody's happy. You ever see this video?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a phenomenal video. He talks about technology. He's like, you're on your phone. You're like, oh, it won't. And he's like, dude, it's going to space. Give it a second to come back from space. We're all like complaining, right? He goes, we're flying, right? We're on an airplane, okay? And he's like, there's fast internet on the airplane. He's like, holy cow, like the internet, YouTube, and then the internet breaks down. And the guy's like, this is BS. He's like, dude,
right.
You didn't 10 seconds ago, you don't even know this existed. He's like, every single second on an airplane, we should all just be yelling, oh my God, I'm flying. Just like take this stuff for granted. Dude, 1,000 drones, 0 impacted Israel.
Right.
This is the splitting of the sea. Don't tell me there's no open miracles. This is the splitting of the sea.
It's crazy because out of everything, not only should people see it, but who should really see it is our enemies. Our enemies are saying that. One of the things that I've been saying that since this has happened and the way that it happened, and I explained this to my kids last night in the bomb shelter because we're all still sleeping in there and we got to see, full on fireworks last night, for lack of a better term. However, but one of the things I told them, I said that as beautiful as this operation has been and as mind boggling as it will, and people will study this from a secular standpoint from years to come. But the people in the region, what people don't understand is that I think, and this is my feeling, that the people that are here in this region, because religion still exists in this region, right? They're starting to see this as the hand of God. They are starting to witness that this is, and whatever they believed in, whatever they thought up until this point, that the protection of God over the Jewish people is alive and in effect, and he's not sleeping. So for me personally, I'm more excited, not about that people are fearing the Mossad, not that people are fearing the IDF. We'll take that also. I appreciate it. But one of the things that I think what's happening, what's being restored, at least here in the region where it's most important, because this is where we are, is that people are starting to fear God. And fear exactly what he said, and that he makes do on his promises. As it says in the prophets, that the word of Hashem goes out and it will not return back to him void. It will not come back to him empty and not void at any time. I'm completely elated. Me and the kids last night, we said over and over again, Hodu Hashem ki tov, ki le'olam chesdo. God is great. His mercy endures forever. And I told them essentially also to this. Think about it from this standpoint. This is also David and Goliath. This is a country that's 70 times bigger. It'd take 70 Israels, 80 Israels, whatever the statistics are, in order to fit and to be able to create an Iran. And not only that, the population, even though 80% of the population is probably against the IRGC and whatever the statistics actually are, but you're really facing this small country versus this has the fingerprint of God all over. Coupled with the statistics that you just brought, coupled with what's going on right now, the statistics, Hashem's fingerprint is over this whole entire thing. My hope is that in the West they'll start to see. That's the question. Like, will the West start to see what's actually going on here? That this is bigger than just what's going on militarily. This is actually the hand of God. That's my real question.
100%. By the way, you heard about this? I'm assuming about the Hebrew date tomorrow. It's the day that in Miraculous Esther. You didn't hear this?
No, I did not hear this. I heard something about Megillus Esther, about the Book of Esther, but I didn't hear.
I think it's the 23rd day of Sivan. I want to get this accurate. So let me just actually read this so I don't make any mistakes here, because this is just, it's mind blowing stuff. Like there's no. Like, I don't know how you can explain this. I'm reading word for word. Tomorrow is the 23rd day of the month of Sivan in the Hebrew calendar, and it's worth noting given Israel's war with Iran. Why? I'll explain. According to the Purim story, Haman convinced King Ahasuerus to sign off on the decree to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews from young to old, infants and women in one day. But as Jewish tradition goes, on the 23rd of Sivan, at Ahasuerus' instruction, the Jewish Queen Esther and Mordechai drafted a royal decree giving Jews under the king's rule permission to rise up and kill those who had allied with Haman to kill them. And they did just that, saving themselves from annihilation. Where did this take place? Persia, Iran. Coincidence? This is tomorrow. This is happening tomorrow. Listen, here's the thing, Nissim. Here's the thing, right? Like you said in the beginning, if you don't want to see God, you'd be like, oh, that's a nice coincidence. Okay, you can say that. But now here's the thing. Can we get a little controversial here?
Yes, please do. Please do. As long as it's the truth, we can do it.
I'm going to something right now that is pure truth, but it's deeply offensive.
Okay.
Deeply offensive. Mm-hmm. Okay. October 7th. All right. Horrible, devastating, terrible, dark day in our history. No question about that. What I'm
Right.
about to say does not negate that. Okay, that's just a fact. All right.
Okay.
But just imagine the following conversation. Okay, 50 years from now, my kid or my grandkid speaking to his grandkid or whatever, and saying to him, "Listen, we were in a synagogue on a day called Simchas Torah, and we were dancing around, and middle of our prayers, 5,000 genocidal terrorists march into a country smaller than New Jersey. 5,000 terrorists. Okay, now." We don't yet know why they had 8 hours to do whatever they did. That's a different discussion. But they had 8 hours, okay? 5,000 terrorists, 8 hours, with unlimited access to automatic weapons. So they are spraying bullets in all directions for 8 hours, 5,000 people. You tell me, Nissim, what math? Tell me how it adds up that they only killed 1,200 people. Explain that to me.
It also
5,000 terrorists, automatic weapons. If each one of those people killed 3 people, they should have been able to kill, each one of those people should be able to kill 300 people.
Right.
3 people. We did 15,000 people dead.
Right.
How does 5,000 terrorists for 8 hours with automatic weapons equal 1,200 dead? It makes 0 sense. Now, let me just, again, give a disclaimer.
Okay.
God forbid, am I saying that 1,200 is not a devastating?
It's a significant number, and it hurt everybody. And I think even more so, what kept us from being able to see what a miracle it was the pain itself, right? The pain itself was so devastating that nobody stopped to think about, well, hey, this could have happened, or that could have happened, or whatever, which is a normal human response to such a tragedy.
The math, as the cool kids say, the math ain't mathin'.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So you know what? Here, Nissim,
Math is actually racist. I'm just throwing that out there.
what does that mean?
I don't know. Some woke stuff that they were talking about like last year, 2 years ago, maybe 2020.
let's put October 7th aside, because you know what?
Right.
It is hard to see. It's in 100 years from now, we're going to look back at October 7th like we look at Purim and Hanukkah, but right now we're in it, so it's hard to see. So forget October 7th, all right? You tell me, this is just. You cannot dispute this. I mean, unless you just want to lie to yourself, right? So I interviewed Dr. Danny Gold, who invented the Iron Dome. Okay, he's not a religious man at all.
Right.
He told me that when he thought of this idea, everyone, and I mean the Israeli government, the Israeli military, the State Department, the U.S. military, the world's leading military strategists said you cannot build a system that detonates rockets midair. It is physics. It doesn't work. It's impossible. There's no way. Don't waste your time. And here we have a system that detonates rockets at over 90% precision. But here's the thing. It doesn't end there. And these are, again, open miracles, because the Iron Dome in and of itself is an anei hakavod. It's a clouds of glory over our heads.
Absolutely.
God is literally putting a dome over our heads. But here's the thing. The Iron Dome's amazing. You know what else is amazing? David's sling. David's sling is also amazing. You know what else is amazing? The arrow system. The arrow system. Just take the arrow system. This detonates ballistic missiles outside of Earth's atmosphere. Do you understand? It's just okay. So here's the thing. Each one of those 3 things, in and of itself, is a technological wonder, aka a miracle. But they were not built. Listen to this. They were not built to work together. At any point, the people who built these things never built them to work together. Those 2 nights when Iran attacked Israel back, whatever it was, a year ago, and we detonated 99% of the missiles and drones they fired at us using those 3 systems that work together in unison to perfection. This is literally Hashem splitting the sea before our eyes.
Wow.
These systems, and by the way, that's not me saying it. Go watch the YouTube interviews of the people who conducted those operations. They'll tell you they said it. These systems were not built to work together. We don't know how it works. They work perfection. So, that's miracles. And then the empty spaces is miracles. And you know what else is a miracle? You know what else is a miracle?
What else?
Because Hashem doesn't do bad. We know that, right? So when we look at the anti-Semitism around the world, we're like, it's so upsetting, and it is upsetting. You know what? The anti-Semitism around the world is a miracle in and of itself. And what do I mean by that? Maybe miracle is a wrong word, because miracle has positive connotations. But I can tell you that, and I could speak on behalf of millions of Israelis, that on October 7th, when I was searching within my neshama, within my soul, for something to grasp onto, I said to myself, if there's any silver lining here, there is no way in any wild hypothetical scenario that the world doesn't stand with Israel now. I mean, they live streamed the atrocity. And
of course, that's what we all thought.
That was obvious. And here we are 24 hours later. That doesn't make any sense. So this whole war defies logic. It makes no sense. It's crazy.
Hey, what's going on? I had to stop you for a second because I want to tell you, if you like what you're hearing and if you're getting value from what you're hearing, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us get this out there. And ultimately, you know what we're trying to do? Spread the name of God all throughout the world. So like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that anytime I put out a video, you are going to be informed first. It was mind-boggling, even for me, to see, the turn that has happened even amongst conservative commentators such as Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. I remember specifically going on Twitter, on social accounts, looking for specific commentators. Candace Owens was one of them, to say something. Nothing happened within the 24, and I said, man, something's up. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? At least, from the left, we always expect something, at least, but we still, I guess I would say I would expect some type of sympathy at some point. But I remember going there looking, and then I reached out to other people I'm friendly with, Larry Elder I talked to. I remember speaking out to Brandon Tater, Officer Tater, people that were closer, and just like, what's going on? I thank you guys so much for speaking up, but she has a massive platform. What's going on there? What's with Tucker? What is going on with these people? And you start to see the shift of how fast, and this is what I've been saying, how could it be? And think about this. How could it be that the same people who record themselves committing the atrocities that they did in Israel be the same ones to then film the retaliation and get sympathy from the rest of the world? It's like they can't lose. Nothing happens where they can lose. It was the most devastating thing. And we could go on and on about that, but I really want to talk about this war, because what we saw with our own eyes, and at least what we learned. I remember being, trapped immediately after this. It was Shabbat night. We had just made Kiddush. We're hearing booms, and we knew to expect something, at least during the prayers. We knew something was coming. We were made aware that the attack had happened, but to the degree that they attacked, I think that this war is also unifying us right now. I think that as split as everybody was on many different issues that Israel pulled together, no matter left, right, whatever the case was, everybody came together, understood that Iran, was it was a threat to not only to us but to the region, and so that there had to be something that was done. So there was some sense of unity. But the question is, considering, these guys have been making threats for a very long time, and according to what's being reported is that Israel acted at the very, very last moment. Now, somehow the very, very last moment, I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but the very, very, very last moment, to where it was only a week out before they would have had, I don't know how many bombs, 9 atomic bombs or whatever the case is. I think I've heard Bibi retort. There was also, it was the 61st day of when Trump had gave the ultimatum. So you had that coupled with the fact that those two things were working simultaneously, but at the same time, it was almost as if this happens right off the tail end of everybody really worrying about what the relationship between Trump and Israel was, because of the trip that he just made to the Middle East. So I don't know if there's anything, but the real question, I guess, is, do you think that we waited too long? This has been an issue. These guys have been a threat for a very long time. Do you think that it took too long for Israel to act?
So I actually think we're going to go one step deeper, because I think what you just described was part of the plan. I actually think that pretend rift that we have with America, like, oh, Trump and Bibi are not getting along, was part of the deception here, as was Bibi's kid's wedding, as was the Knesset, the parliament, trying to bring down the government. Everything was done with the intention of leading the Iranians to believe that Bibi is weak and he cannot attack. Everything was all part of it. So I actually think that it was planned to perfection. I don't know how close they were to the bomb. I know that's part of the message that it was the last second. I do believe that, Trump, as Mr. I hate war, really did believe he can find a diplomatic solution. He obviously wasn't deeply familiar with the nature of radical Islam. But I think it was done, perfectly, because I think if we had not let Trump, go through all the diplomatic steps, then he would have been slightly against this. But now we have him on our side, and now he's helping us with the defense. Now there's talks about him helping us with the offense, and he's all in on this thing. So I think it was necessary. I would have loved to see it happen 20 years ago, but I think, given the circumstances, I think Bibi executed this to perfection.
So I would push back and say, I don't think Trump was actually ever playing that card. I think Trump was very, very aware of what he was dealing with. In the beginning, yes, I thought also too. I thought like everybody else, Trump's crazy. What does he think that he can negotiate with these guys? But then I started to say, Trump is a completely different breed of human being. We question, we never know exactly what he's up to, but he's always up to something. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to, this has brought so much attention from the media, from everybody everybody else that I think Trump's on the verge of this bill passing and nobody paying attention to it because they're so busy and wrapped up with this war. I think he's much more brilliant than what we all think. We've seen this. I think that Trump actually knew the whole entire time that these guys would be stubborn. We have data. These guys, we've watched them for so many years. We've seen that they never come through on their word. Everything that they've said has been a handshake in the front and a stab in the back. The wars, the amount of death that has come in the region ever since they've come into power has been completely there's no numbers like this. I just seen on the PBD podcast when they were showing actually what the numbers was since the Ayatollah took over. It's been catastrophic how much death. There's nothing in me that believes, standing now, knowing all of what we know since the operation started, that Trump actually ever thought they were going to come to the table. I don't think that they knew. He knew.
I accept that. You're saying there's a method to his madness. I hear that. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think, I think he's Mr. Dealmaker, right? He's Mr. Ending all wars. It could very well be that you're right, and he knew what he was doing the whole time. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Because look, it laid the grounds now, right? Saudi Arabia. I do have a question about Qatar. These guys are probably the most confusing people in this region to me. I don't know what they're aligned to. I think Qatar is actually Shiite, so they probably, the relationship that they actually have with Iran seems that it would be more genuine. What I have come to know is that Shiite and Sunni, very much so different. The fact that Shiites are usually very gang-ridden, like they're more mafia style. That's just the way they really operate. Where you may have Sunnis that just create all type of wild militias and really don't really have an actual target. It's a little bit less organized, I would say, amongst them. But Qatar is probably the biggest question in all of this. And then they also host, I think, the largest military base for U.S. outside of. So the whole entire thing by them is confusing. But in the UAE, all the other players in the region, Syria, releasing the sanctions off Syria, which also too I'm very confused about. But to some degree, it looks like Trump's non-visit, the whole fake out of whatever took place when he came here, has laid the grounds. He knew this attack was going to come, and it's shocked the world. And not only do people want to come to the table for economic reasons, they want to come to the table for protection reasons. They see that there's no point of starting up with Israel. It probably created a massive amount of distrust from all of the political leaders here in the Middle East, not knowing who's really on their side, who's Mossad, who's not, or whatever. I mean, the fake out that's happening, and we thought this happened with the pagers, but it's happened just now on a whole nother scale of this, what looks to be probably a regime change soon here in Iran.
Yeah, Netanyahu said it yesterday. He said this is the beeper operation on steroids. I mean, what we did I don't think, do you realize how, this, we started this thing 5 days ago, or 6 days ago? Right. We've taken down Iran. We've taken down 50% of the ballistic missiles. We've taken down whatever percent of their nuclear program, basically all of it, except for that one, place that we're waiting for America to get involved. Yeah. So this is unprecedented. And I truly do believe that alongside the 6-day war and maybe the War of Independence, this war is going to go down in history as one of the most incredible military operations ever. It's wild. It's crazy. We defeated Iran in 6 days. What is going on here? But here's the thing, Nissim. Here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I think, what you described is, I think God, we talk about Bibi playing chess or Trump. God's playing chess. He's moving the pieces around. Mm-hmm. It's starting to make sense. And I can't understand God's ways, of course, but if I had told you 3 weeks ago, mm-hmm. that the vast majority of the free world would stand by Israel in a military operation, would have been there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Crazy.
Would have thought you were nuts.
That's right. And let me tell you something. I've been giving can we get a little theological here for 1 second?
Let's do it. Please.
A little philosophical.
Place to get
right?
theological.
Okay, so the most fundamental philosophical question that philosophers have asked since the beginning of time is, why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people? Right? We know this. Mm-hmm. It's right. How could it be that these big rabbis died in the Holocaust? How does God let that happen? Okay, number one, let's just put aside the fact that God gives human beings free choice, and He didn't do the Holocaust. Hitler did, and He didn't do October 7th. Hamas did, but of course, God could move things around that it prevented it from happening. So what is the answer to that question? And the traditional answer is there is no answer. We don't know God's ways. But I actually think there is an answer. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, right? God says, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu Zakos Yisrael. Hashem wanted to give Bnei Israel merit. That's why he gave us the Torah and the mitzvahs, so that we can do all these mitzvahs and we can get schar. Right? That's what Hashem wants. He wants you
get a reward,
to collect. Right. He wants to give us reward. He says, look, there are diamonds on the floor. Go collect them. Go collect them as much as you can. Right? That's what he wants. That's why he created the world. Right. Now, if God didn't do bad things to good people and good things to bad people, then imagine every single time I speak Lashon Hara, lightning strikes me. Imagine every time I give tzedakah, my bank account blows up all of a sudden. And imagine every time I do something bad things happen. And every time I do good things happen. Then I wouldn't be able to get any reward. There wouldn't be free choice. Right. That wouldn't be me saying, okay, it's hard for me to believe, but I believe. God will say, listen, you didn't make. I showed you that I'm here. I did good things to good people and bad things to bad people. You had no choice, so I can't give you a reward. But God's like, no. I want you to accomplish something, and I want you to achieve something so that you deserve that reward. Right. And sometimes it's going to get confusing for you, but you got to stick to your guns. To me, that's the answer. That's why good things happen to bad people. So that Hashem says, look, good things happen to bad people, and you still kept your faith.
It's amazing. So just to ask you on one of the points that you had actually made earlier, you said that if you would have asked me a few weeks ago that in a military operation that the world would be supporting Israel, more or less, do you think that there's a way now, because of all the heat that we've been taking since we've been attacked, right, by Hamas, all the heat that we've been taking, can we somehow use this to our advantage, and not just militarily and politically, but can we use this as good PR? Can we somehow spin this to where we could start to reshape the way that we look, not only in the region, but in the world?
I'm disappointed in you, Nissim.
Oh, okay.
You're asking that question like it's in our hands.
I'm just asking you. I understand for 1,000% that it's not in our hands, but I'm wondering if you have any secrets behind this.
Okay, so whether we're going to get the support of the world as far as our war with Hamas or we won't is completely not in our hands. Completely, like, if it was in our hands, then we could talk about our horrible job at PR. We can talk about that. We can talk, but at the end of the day, clearly, Hashem has shown us over and over and over again, you can plan and God laughs. That's the bottom line. Like
I always say man plans, wife laughs, but whatever.
Wife,
God also has a sense of humor.
We could sit here and start analyzing. I mean, I could talk to you about the PR or why we're losing, what we can do, but at the end of the day, like, I couldn't have possibly planned the PR, the good PR that we're getting now in this Iranian operation, till I could have sat here planned for 8 years and I would never have come up with this plan. It's just, God, it's all God moving the pieces on the board. That's it.
1,000%. So I don't know how long this is going to last. We both here in Beit Shemesh, I got to see, I don't know what's by us. What is this, arrows, or is this David Sling by us that we're seeing over here that's shooting down? I mean, I saw a lot of,
I think it's Iron Dome.
Just regular Iron Dome. I don't know which system it is. Anyway, so the impact of everything is shaking the ground. It's obviously not a fun experience for all of us. We don't actually know when this will be over. But I don't know if you have heard anything, or if you have any type of insight, at least, on what they plan to do with Khamenei, because my real question is that Bibi said something that was powerful. People seem to think that it will cause a bigger escalation if they take him out. Bibi says something that I thought was very profound and sounds like the most truthful thing was that taking him out not going to cause escalation, is going to end things, right? Yep. So it seems to be that there is some rift between him and Trump on that, but I don't know if you know anything about what the plan is.
I don't think so. I think we know where he is, and I think it's a decision of when we're going to take him out, not if. But honestly, a part of me, I know this is super dark, but a part of me kind of like, leave him alive to watch his entire regime crumble. Like, I want to sit here and
I got the same
watch
problem.
It, But I don't think there's any question that we're going to take him out eventually. It might happen like the last thing that we do, but this guy's not surviving.
I mean, unless he escapes to Russia. It seems like they're saying that Russia is trying to lay out a plan to be able to help asylum, but I don't know what the interest is. Like the same thing with Assad. What's the interest in taking these political leaders that have no more power to come into your country? I mean, they can't help you in any way. They've lost all power. They don't have anything that they could do to help you. Maybe they become hostages. Maybe Assad's a hostage. At some point, he's valuable and people want him, and then somehow Russia's able to leverage that. But I'm trying to figure out what would be the reason to give them asylum. They're not best friends. They didn't go to high school together.
You're overcomplicating things, my friend.
Okay.
They hate the Jews. Anything that will cause harm to the Jews, they'll do it. That's it. That's it. We want Assad's head. We're going to give him asylum. That's it. Anything that will cause harm to the Jews, that's what they're going to do. Wow. You know what? I know this is going to sound a bit crazy to you because Russia's not Iran, but we took out Hania on Iranian soil. I don't see any reason why the Mossad can't penetrate Russia and get those guys in Russian soil. Absolutely. I don't have any.
The cards of Russia's been shown in this war with Ukraine. I don't. They for sure are not the Russia that everybody thought that they were. I mean, but
I don't think people realize. There's a lot of literature already on what the Mossad pulled off here in Iran. People don't realize the extent of it. We entered Iranian soil and set up a drone military base in Iran.
It's insane.
We had Mossad agents in Iran. We had drone and weapons set up on vehicles. And as soon as we launched those 200 jets into the air, all of those weapons were activated in a split second. We took out endless, ballistic missile launchers in a split second. Like this is James Bond stuff right here.
Right. It's it really is next level. I mean, I know they called this Operation Rising Lion, but I thought they should have called it Operation Slingshot because this is definitely David taking down Goliath in a major, major, major way. Hey, what's going on? I had to stop you for a second because I want to tell you, if you like what you're hearing and if you're getting value from what you're hearing, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us get this out there. And ultimately, you know what we're trying to do? Spread the name of God all throughout the world. So like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that anytime I put out a video, you are going to be informed first.